Thank you for joining us on this edition of the show. My guest has been at the forefront of deepening the influence of the African tech ecosystem, particularly in the area of access to funding. And he joins me on the show to share his thoughts on how and why we should improve funding for tech startups on the continent. There's indeed a lot lined up, but first, some news and updates. I am Chukwemeka Agbata. Welcome to Tech Trends.
Modern technology has become a total phenomenon for civilization, the defining force of a new social order in which efficiency is no longer an option but a necessity imposed on all human activity.
The 2021 edition of the DGRLE Arm Young Talent Award finalist pitch event holds virtually with applications received from all parts of Nigeria. This year's event seeks to find solutions preferred in the areas of agriculture, education, healthcare, climate, housing, and transportation. The initiative is also an opportunity for young Nigerians to compete for a 12 million naira award that will be channeled towards the execution of new strategies and tuition for further training amongst other forms of support.
All our contestants have derived full benefits of our engagement virtually, and we can build on the success of this adaptation to become even more effective as we create borderless opportunities for fintechs.
It was a bit challenging to get everybody on board to even begin to apply. But once we got through that, it was smooth. And we had really, really good people apply. The data team, though working from home, everybody was well coordinated. We were able to sift through the various applications that we got and then pass them on to the judges.
After a 2-day pitch workshop, 6 founders make it to the final pitch event. But what's the assessment framework with which the winner will be chosen?
Our assessment framework is relatively simple. The first is to look at the founder's vision and how the founder tells a personal story about the problem they are addressing and the solution they're proposing as a business. So we look at that under the vision. The second part is to look at their proposition, which is really the offer of the products and services to a target customer base for impact in a specific market, which in our case would be Nigeria. And then next is the organization, which is the people, the processes, and technologies that are used to deliver the proposition.
One after the other, and in no particular order, the finalists introduce themselves and their projects, then they give their pitch presentations.
My name is Oscar Omera Udebona. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of EduPoint.
My name is Imodere Ayakunbi Apior. I'm a medical doctor and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Health Partics Limited, the creators of Lendonor.
My name is Uche Kenneth Udekwe. I am the CEO of Natal Cares.
My name is Akinse Felabui. I'm the CEO and also a co-founder at the brand Salubata.
My name is Dr. Sulaiman, co-founder, Chief Executive Officer, Scrappage.
My name is Eitayo, and I lead the Utiva team. You know that education is a very important element of everyone's life.
After about an hour and 30 minutes of presentations from all 6 finalists, only one is adjudged the winner. But before the winner is announced, the founder of ARM expresses his wishes to the participants.
I think the reality is that we don't know which of these participants will turn out to be a spectacular success. And this is regardless of what we who judge them here tonight think. Part of the reason for that is because having the best idea does not always guarantee success. But by coming this far, I think you've already set yourself apart from many others. If there's one thing that I would like you to remember, it's that the picture of success will never be fully formed in one day. It's a little bit at a time until the whole picture is formed. So try not to get ahead of yourself and take your time and be realistic.
And the winner of the 2021 data preparation workshops is Healthbotics. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is with pride that I announce the Deji Ali Young Talent Award 2021 winner as, oh yeah, what's the name again? Tokwe Sulaiman of Scrap Pays.
Tokwe Suleiman of Scrap Haze Technologies Limited emerges the winner of Data 2021. He'll be receiving funding of 12 million naira over a period of 1 year to contribute to working capital, participate in an entrepreneurial education program at the Pan Atlantic University's Enterprise Development Center, and receive a 5-month acceleration support services for the development of their venture by TVC Labs.
Congratulations to you, Tope. I like the fact that you have built your model to reward those who are environmentally conscious. Encouraging recycling entrepreneurship can strengthen our economy and our environment by creating jobs. So congratulations for a job well done. And I think through Scrap Pays, you can close the gap between what is happening in the developed countries and what Scrap Pays can do in this space. This prize is a catalyst to building the foundation for a strong and viable business. So I do hope that you apply it judiciously.
I thank ARM, the data team, Technovision for putting up this wonderful event, and I hope that we'll be able to work together in the coming months to ensure that we can achieve all of our goals. We have a lot still in store, and I believe that with their help we're going to be get to where we want to get and ensure that we get all of these visions clearly hit. Thank you.
The data program, which was inaugurated by ARM in honor of its founding CEO, Mr. Deji Ali, in 2015, is part of the company's efforts to educate and empower the younger generation to make meaningful socio-economic impact in their immediate environment and the nation at large.
Shoppers in the streets of Tokyo's posh Ginza district can now wash their hands and sterilize their smartphones using hand-washing stations that a Japanese startup hopes will revolutionize access to clean water and better hygiene. Water Corp set up 20 of its wash machines near popular Ginza stores in an initiative with the district association aimed at encouraging shoppers to wash their hands and to prevent the spread of the virus.
We maintained the ability of a large water filtration plant and shrank it to this size, which is 100,000 from the original plant, and put it inside. This is what the product is. To be able to wash your hands wherever you are in the city, we thought we had to realize this as soon as possible amidst the impact of COVID-19. So we sped up development.
The machines don't require connection to running water and don't use fresh and water waste tanks. Instead, they recycle the water through a 3-stage process of membrane filtration, chlorine, and deep ultraviolet radiation. On an average, 20 liters of water provides around 500 washes, and the filters should be changed after 2000. Wash also has a built-in device that cleans smartphones using 20 to 30 seconds of ultraviolet light exposure, the time it takes to thoroughly wash your hands. Touching a dirty phone would negate hand wash efforts. Shoppers were mostly positive.
If I use alcohol to disinfect too much, my hands get rough, so I would appreciate it if I can use water.
Water has now begun shipments within Japan of roughly 4,000 units. It aims to expand internationally, with many inquiries coming from the United States. Cybersecurity has continued to remain top of mind and should be a priority for anyone who uses the internet. As developers continue to come up with leading-edge ways to counteract cyber attacks, hackers are getting smarter when breaking into IT systems. To protect your information online, here are a few cybersecurity tips. Avoid suspicious websites, pop-ups and emails. Pop-ups are quite common on the internet, but you must avoid clicking or opening them so you don't fall prey to phishing attacks. Only use sites with web addresses beginning with HTTPS and not HTTP. The extra S in these addresses stands for secure, and if you want to shop online, use familiar payment methods or your credit or debit card if you know the site is safe. Don't share confidential information. Never share your passwords or confidential information with anyone. Simple details like your date of birth can be used to guess your password and break into your data. So to be cyber safe, share only to your comfort level. Anytime you feel uncertain about giving someone details, verify their credentials before moving forward. Create strong passwords. Your passwords are like a gateway to your digital identity, so you need to guard them properly by following basic password hygiene, like setting up unique passwords for all of your accounts. That way, if one account is hacked, the others are still secure. Changing your passwords at least every 3 months. Enable two-factor authentication and using a combination of random letters, symbols, or paraphrases among others. Also, avoid sharing your passwords or making them visible to others. Use antivirus software and keep it updated. Antivirus software is your computer's built-in security system. It will defend your device against scams, viruses, and phishing attempts. Whether it's your smartphone or work laptop, keep them updated. Update your internet browser. Internet browsers release regular updates to prevent cybersecurity threats. Similar to your computer's antivirus software, update your internet browser anytime you are prompted. Then, your information will be safer when you access websites.
Right after this is my chat with David Van Dyke, co-founder, Africa Business Angel Network. Stay with us.
Statistics from the 2019 African Tech Startups Funding Report by Disrupt Africa states that 311 companies secured a combined $491 million worth of investment in 2019. Nigeria with Kenya emerged as the premier investment destinations, attracting $122 million and $149 million in funding, respectively. Now, in another report published by Intelligence by TechPoint, over $377 million was raised by Nigerian startups in the same year as against the $178.3 million raised in 2018. In the first quarter of 2020, Intelligence by TechPoint reports that Nigerian startups raised $55.37 million, which is higher than the amount raised in the first quarters of 2018 and 2019 combined. There was a 48.8% decline from that in the second quarter of 2020, as a total of $28.35 million was raised. Funding is probably the most important component for a startup, especially if they intend to grow quickly or whether it's for faster development, better marketing, or sales. Without a reliable funding source in place, startups tend to struggle to achieve significant traction, develop next-generation products, hire top-tier talent, and more. Our guest, David Van Dyke, co-founder of Africa Business Angel Network, sheds more light on how we can improve funding for the ecosystem.
David, glad to have you on the show today.
Thank you, CFA. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Interestingly, you have been here in the ecosystem for a very long time. How has the experience been with COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, and today? What are your thoughts?
So it's a very interesting question. So 2020, in many ways, is almost a confusing year because on the one hand, we have these headline-making exits, we have record-breaking deals, we have more money coming into the ecosystem than ever before. At the same time, obviously, we read the news about startups having insufficient funds, lack of working capital. So there's a lot of sort of mixed signals in terms of what COVID has brought 2020. Overall, however, I'm extremely positive, and it feels that this year is almost like the coming of age of the startup ecosystem, with simply doing more deals, the exits we've been kind of all waiting for. So again, I'm very positive about what is happening.
Yeah, I mean, you and your platform, you have played a role in the involvement of a lot of ecosystems across the continent. How would you rate the ecosystem that you see today?
The ecosystem today is very different from 5 or 10 years ago. A lot of things have happened. We're definitely at a stage where things are professionalizing, both the startups, the founders, but also the investors that are becoming more and more active. At the same time, it still feels like we're only scratching the surface, and that there's so much more that can be done and has to be done to really, give every promising, innovative founder an opportunity to start and grow a company.
I like the fact that you use the word "has to be done." So tell me, what is the technology investment landscape today? What is it like today?
I think that there's enormous opportunities. I think that the increase in the number of investments, I think the increase in the size of the investments illustrates or demonstrates that people see the opportunities across the continent. You could definitely argue that the majority of those investments go to a handful of countries. So there are some countries that are leading the way, other countries that are catching up, if you will, or still have to sort of bring those opportunities to fruition. But I think that if COVID has shown us one thing, then it is that the future is digital, meaning that I think before we all kind of knew that that obviously technology would play a leading role in our lives, but I think that by now it's the only way forward.
There's this issue where angel investors complain of high quality early stage ideas. How do you think that is also coming up across the continent?
So I think that obviously, I mean, I guess it illustrates that an ecosystem consists of different components. So angel investors can only exist and play their role if there are investable ventures. So as long as there's no investable ventures, it's hard to invest, if you will. So again, it's different parts of the ecosystem that all sort of have to play their role and all have to sort of come together to make it work.
I mean, I know the work that Eban, courtesy of you and Tommy Davis, you're trying to do across the continent. But one critical question that I would like to ask you is the risk factor. At the end of the day, is there a way that the risk factor just goes away?
No, there's not. I'll look to the real world. No, but it's a good point, right? So investing in early stage companies is super high risk. And that means that investors need to have a certain level of sophistication to understand what this risk means, to understand they can lose their money, but also understand how you can mitigate those risks. So for example, one of the things that we promote and speak about is investing in syndicates, investing in groups. So not just putting my money into a company, but for you, myself, other friends, people come together and as a group invest in multiple companies. So, investing in multiple companies, diversifying your risk. We also, as ABAN, try to help mitigate risks. We speak a lot with governments, international organizations, make people understand what is this angel investing, why is it relevant, why is it relevant in African context, how can governments, authorities play a role in minimizing risk, etc. But that is really a long game, if you will.
Yes, I asked you the question on the risk on purpose, but the truth is that the exits or the upside can also be attractive. So, for example, the recent Paystack deal. But what would you say to folks who've got money, but they don't have investments in the technology startups? What would you say to them?
So, one important point is that you do not necessarily have to be, extremely wealthy to be able to be an angel investor. So there's certain relatively new initiatives, for example, by Future Africa, that allows people to invest, with 5,000 US or 10,000 US. So it becomes very approachable for many more people. So one is that angel investing is not just for the wealthy, right? It can be for many more people like you and I, etc.
Finally, David, I'd like to ask you, going forward, would you still place a bet on the technology startups in helping Africa's future?
No, for sure. And I think that technology I see technology sort of underlying almost everything we do, right? So it's not technology per se, but how can technology give better access to healthcare or transportation or energy, etc. I personally think that if you kind of sort of, look behind scratch the surface, then I think that the main challenge that we will sort of continue to see is related to, payments and the movement of money. And I think that even if the companies that are successful today in raising funds in logistics or in agriculture, that most of those companies are not just sort of experts in the field of logistics or agriculture. They also have a certain financial component to their service offering, meaning that, for example, Twiga will understand the buying patterns of their clients so well that they can provide certain credit or provide working capital to their partners, enable them to buy more, etc. So it's not just an agriculture company. It's also provide certain financial services.
All right, David, thank you for being on the show today. We wish you all the best.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
That was David Van Dyke, co-founder, Africa Business Angel Network. Now, one sure way to unlock the amazing potentials on the African continent is by ensuring that innovators solving problems have increased access to funding so that hopefully they can build better products and solutions. We've come to the end of the show, but it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. We are Tech Trends TV on social media. Watch the show on the Channels TV YouTube or via cfablog.ng. Happy New Year from all of us at Channels Television. I am Chukwemeka Agbata.